Well, hello, Southport Square residents. This is your Executive Director, Brian Hess, with another episode of Around the Square. And we're going to go right into the COVID update because I have some amazing news.
What is this news, Brian?
So, the amazing news is that the federal government has ended the COVID-19 public health emergency, or PHE, effective May 11th.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, there's no more COVID. We're
the
good.
pandemic's over.
It's gone, right? Well, what does that mean? So I just wanted to chat with y'all a little bit about what that means, specifically for us as people living in this world, and then for us as a skilled nursing and an assisted living here at Southport Square. So the first thing is, they called the pandemic a PHE, or a public health emergency. So what that means is that there's all these different pieces from the federal level that they can put into play, different restrictions and or mandates, and provide funding in different places, things like that. That's why the PHE was put into effect years ago when COVID kind of started. So now they're saying we're far enough into this and we're through it that they can end this public health emergency. So now that the PHE has been ended effective May 11th, that was the official date that the federal government said it is no longer considered a public health emergency. So we're starting to see a lot of these statistics and data that we've previously reported on a continual basis. Those are all kind of starting to go away. So we're going to provide you a little bit of an update of where we are right now, and then we'll continue to track and monitor our positivity on our campus here. So we're going to continue to watch that because we want to know if we have an outbreak that's occurring or anything like that. So if for whatever reason you as a resident becomes sick or is infected with COVID, please still let us know through Debbie Link, the front desk, however you would like to inform us. But we still want to be able to track that and monitor that, even though the public health emergency has ended at this point. So as of this point today, we have 0 positive residents and 0 positive staff on our campus right now. Well, we're all positive. We're just happy. But we have no COVID positive residents or staff here on our campus. So that's good news. The most recent data that the Florida Department of Health has posted shows that the state of Florida was at a 7.4% positivity rate, and Charlotte County was at a 6.9% positivity rate. Now, I don't know whether that data will continue because that data is up through May 11th, which coincides with the end of the public health emergency. So what that means is that we probably won't see any more of this data going forward. I am not certain yet on that, but we probably will not see that information going forward. The CDC has stopped reporting that information. So when I used to come on here and give you the Department of Health information as well as the CDC information, that CDC information is not available to us any longer. So in our health center, in Harbor Health Center for Skilled Nursing and Assisted Living, the way we're going to continue to monitor this is with the guidance of our regulatory agencies here in the state of Florida, and our company, LCS Policy, is we will still watch for any specific COVID positive in our community. So if the skilled nursing and or assisted living or memory care have COVID positive, whether that be residents or staff, we would then go back to masking in those areas, okay? And we'll continue to monitor that over time. If for whatever reason we have an outbreak, we might start to put in place different policies as well. But at this point right now, we're pretty much open. We continue to have that visitation policy being open to all of our residents and staff across the campus. So anyway, so yay, we kind of got rid of the public health emergency. But on the flip side, we will still continue to monitor and track this and just make sure that we don't have any significant challenges here on our campus. So,
right, and this doesn't mean COVID's over.
Correct.
Because people could still just get COVID, but we need to know.
Correct.
So to keep them in quarantine and things
Absolutely,
like that.
Absolutely.
We
so
don't have
COVID
to
is still out
document
there.
every
That's
case.
right. COVID
Okay.
is still out there. It is still a real thing. I mean, the state of Florida is still at that 7% positivity. So for those of you that may have been here for a longer period of time through the pandemic versus some folks that may have come in a little bit sooner, if you may recall a few years ago, about 2 years ago, before we kind of went through a secondary spike of COVID, we actually were down to like a 3% positivity rate for quite some time. And then we spiked again, and it took a long time to come back down, and we're still sitting at 6 and 7%. So what that means is that we really haven't like tapered off completely to where we were even in the middle of that pandemic at some points. So it is kind of just interesting to see that. I think we'll continue to see numbers come down, over time, and people just being more aware of it and aware of how to combat COVID. But it is still out there for sure. And so, for folks that need to worry about protecting themselves from an infection standpoint, you still want to follow those protocols and procedures that you've been following. So a great question, though. So I'm going to move along, and by the way, I think in the future we'll just do a very brief COVID update. I probably won't get into positivity percentages in the state and county because they probably will be non-existent next time, but we will share with you if we have any positives on our campus and where we're sitting. So jumping into kind of our update on all of the hurricane work around campus. So for those of you who've seen, the roofers have mostly finished up in the village area. They've got a couple little odds and ends that they are still just wrapping up in the village area. They're waiting on the final sign off from the county that says all their roofing looks good. They are working on our Harbor Health Center, so you'll see the roofers around that building working pretty heavily in that area. The gate behind Harbor Health Center has been closed for right now, as they have their products staged back there and the forklift and all of that back and forth up to the roof. So if you use that back entrance behind Harbor Health Center, that will be closed for several days here now. We also, as we're working through the interior of the buildings, we still have work being worked on in floors 2 and 3 of East and West. Also in our Harbor Health Center currently, they'll continue to work down the floors. We have some areas that they are still waiting for some product. So up on the 5th floor of Gables West, there's an area that needs ceiling tile and ceiling tile grids, things like that. That is all still on back order, waiting for those items to arrive so that we can finish the build out there. They're going to continue to work through the apartments and hopefully get through those quickly here. Their goal with that was to have them wrapped up by the end of May. We're getting close, so I'm hopeful that within the next couple of weeks we'll see all those coming to an end, but they have quite a few still to jump onto. So we'll continue to work through that process. The exterior soffits under the carports, so we have completed 4 of the carports behind the Gables West building. We currently have 5 closed sort of on the Gables West building side toward the elementary school. We're getting ready to reopen those, and then we're going to take down 4 more that they'll continue to work on. If you've seen that, they are actually repairing the soffits underneath the carports, as well as they are pressure cleaning and painting those as well. So
the paint looks really nice, by the way. Yeah,
new colors. So you'll see some of that new color on the building. Looks really good. They are also starting in the village area as far as some painting. So you'll see them doing some ceilings and some walkway painting where the buildings inside the village. We're going to try to keep that as minimal impact to y'all as possible, but just know that at times we will have the village taped off and working through some painting in those areas. They're also currently working in the town hall to do some of the repairs there. They're then going to work into the wood shop and complete the repairs in there as well. So we've got a couple of progressions going on as we move through this process. The carports will continue to progress as they finish 4 carports. They're going to take 4 more out of service. Our security team will work with you all as residents to get cars moved and then back. It looks like it's taking about a week each time that we take down a set of carports. It takes them about a week to get the work done and get them back opened again. So a lot of stuff happening kind of on the outside of the buildings, a lot of stuff still happening on the inside. Some additional items that are under in the works right now. The lanais rescreening and revinyling. So for those folks up on the 5th floor, you'll have seen some progress coming through. We're going to try to give notification when they're ready to move to the next floors. So we will let you all know when they're ready to move to the next floors. I have asked the blue team to also update that on their whiteboards by the elevators. So as you're coming in and out of your buildings, you should be able to see where they're working, where the blue team is working and which floors. So they'll have the interior work and then they'll have the lanai work separate and apart there. If you have a lanai that needs to be completely rebuilt because it was destroyed, so meaning you have the plywood across your back lanai area, those will be starting probably within the next several weeks. They will have those built. They're going to build them on the ground. My understanding, they will build them on the ground. They will lift them up and put them in place and secure them down. And so that's how those will pan out over the next couple of weeks. we will let you know as they start working through that process. And then windows. So we know that there are some folks that have broken windows still. The Blue Team is very close to being ready to start getting those windows in place. They are just waiting for the windows to arrive. They were ordered several weeks back, and they do anticipate them to be here in a week or two. They will start as soon as they get those windows. They're ready to go and start working on those. So there's been a question of like, is my window getting replaced for insurance purposes because of the storm, or do I have to pay if I want to upgrade my window to an impact window? So if your window is framed out with the 2x4 wood and the plastic wrap on the window, if you will, that is what will be replaced by the insurance carrier. Anything else where the window is still in place is not going to be replaced through the insurance claim. So if that's the case, that will be a window that will remain. If there are any issues with those windows, please let us know, because we can still address those, but that is not on the slate for the insurance company to replace those windows. With that being said, for anybody that wants to put a window in where their windows were not damaged, but they would like to replace the window with a new, improved hurricane impact window, please let Dawn know in the administrative offices as soon as possible. We'd like to get that full count by today, the day you're watching this, Friday. But hopeful that we will get that count pulled together and start working through that process. So far, we've had quite a few responses of folks that want to
I had a few
install
more
those
today
windows.
too.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so we're getting some feedback, and thank you for those that have reached out. We want to make sure that we get those replaced for you.
Brian, I did have a question from one resident regarding the windows, and it seems to be, and it's not just from one resident, a couple have asked now. During the storm, a lot of windows leaked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from my understanding from insurance adjusters and talking to people, that is fairly common and normal. That doesn't mean that the window itself is still compromised, correct?
That's correct. So, and that's a valid point. So, our windows, specifically the current windows in the Gables East and Gables West buildings, there's two different types of windows, but both of them are what is considered a window with a gasket in the window itself. And so those gaskets are actually in place to allow the windows to expand and contract with heat and cooling temperatures, as well as with wind pressures through time. So what happens in a storm is, with all that pressure on the wind, that can still leak, have water that goes through those gaskets and leaks because of the pressure on the building. It does not mean that the window is compromised or that it's not still, serving its purpose. So those windows still can leak, and when you close those windows, we have all the weather stripping around that as well. Mm-hmm. And again, when you get that much pressure on a building and the rain driving into that window, they can leak through those the weather stripping and the gaskets around the outside of the window as well. So that being said, is that even though a window leaked during the storm does not mean that it was compromised or broken or needs to be replaced.
Okay.
And so the Blue Team had an actual engineer come in, and they reviewed the windows post-storm. That was, months back, probably in that September, October timeframe. And they did review those windows, and they noted the ones that were broken that needed to be replaced. Those are the ones that were already removed, and they will be replacing those. The rest of them that maybe had some leaking, things like that, those are not needing to be replaced. Those are still intact and okay to stay.
Okay, good.
So a great question, though. If there are any concerns still from a resident specifically about their window, I'd be more than happy to look at that and review it. But, at this point, if you don't have the window as plastic wrapped, if you will, that's the best way I can put it out there. It's plastic wrap window.
They're very fresh.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But if you don't have the plastic wrapped window, then that would probably be a window that's not being replaced, and then it would be up to the resident if they would want to replace that with a newer style or not. It is your choice. The cost is $2,150. Is that correct, Dawn?
Yes,
for
sir.
each window is what I recall in the memo. So that is up to you as a resident. If you'd like to upgrade to that, and we would bill you for that amount, they'll come in and do the work and put those windows in place. So just keep that as an option if that's something you'd like to do to protect your apartment a little bit more. All right, so windows, lanais, we've addressed those. Talking about fencing and electrical work that still to be done out on our campus. We'll probably start to see some of that kick off in the June-July timeframe, and then we'll be progressing through the campus. So that'll include things like the chain link fencing around the tennis and pickleball courts, the PVC and vinyl fencing back by the garden and around some of our power plant buildings, and some other fencing that we have here on our campus. And then lighting is what we would consider all the electrical. So our outdoor light posts that fell over, blew down, or are broken, those will be what would be replaced in that electrical component. We are also working on the flag poles right now, making sure that we can get those flag poles replaced. One of them does need to be replaced. The other two need to be readjusted. They're working to try and get those as quick as possible and completed so we can get our flags flying straight again up in the air. And then the last piece, the landscaping. So we've seen a lot of progress with landscaping. If you notice in the back of the property, they did get the sod laid around those oak trees and the viburnum out there. They've worked in the health center area. They will be starting in the front entrance here. The next component will be the front entrance coming up through to the town hall. So you're going to see a lot of work kind of out in those areas. Please be cautious as you're coming in out of those entrances, as we will have some folks working on plantings and probably some heavy equipment through there carrying plantings as they put them in place. So last couple of projects that we have still lingering out there, our Gables East renovation is kind of getting to the point of being closed soon, done soon. A lot of still little items to be addressed, still working on some areas in the front desk place, as well as some different areas throughout the building. We'll continue to work with Laniap to get all of those little last minute items, touched up and finished up, and then we'll be walking the building together to make sure all of it looks well. And then just as a reminder, our furniture is scheduled to arrive the week of June. I actually believe it's June 13th through June 16th are the dates that the furniture will be here. So during that time, we will have a lot of people in and out of the building, taking out the old, bringing in the new. We'll let you know when those dates are coming up and kind of the game plan of how we're going to do that. We'll give you a heads up so you know what's happening out there. And then fingers crossed, our pool AC is supposed to be manufactured in June and delivered here in June. I say manufactured, it's been in the manufacturing process, whatever that means. But the manufacturer is supposed to deliver it in June. So that being said, I am very hopeful that we will now have that pool AC delivered and we can get that installed and get that room back and acclimated to the right temperature and humidity. So long-awaited pool AC there. So those are all the updates I have for you this week. So I hope you enjoy this episode of Around the Square.
Hey, Pat.
Hey,
What
Dawn.
do you got there?
So after I got off of several morning meetings, I went back to my office and found this on my desk for my team.
Oh,
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
it really is. Now, this was made hand carved by one of our residents, Sandy McDougal, and it's the Three Stooges in their classic non-fixing. They could never fix anything.
No, as opposed to my team who fixes everything.
Right. Well, what a nice thing to give to the office. That was really nice of her to do that.
It really is. I would like to point out some of the detail. I mean, it even has pockets and
look at that.
creases in the pants. Isn't that amazing?
Really, it is. And it's not the painting technique either. I mean, the painting looks like real denim and pants, but that's actual carved wood.
Yes.
Not just a painting technique. Oh, that's really... She's got a talent.
She does.
Definitely has a talent. All right, well, coming right up. Whoa, okay. All right, let's do it again. Doink. Nyah. Wow, look at these. Wow. Rodney Doucette is at it again.
Well,
Rodney, these are beautiful.
Well, they've come out better than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
The two sets and the teak wood.
The teak wood. Now this is the ship flooring that you turned on. Oh, I touched it. I think it's wet.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit.
But it would go this way. It would turn. You just turned it on its side.
Right, and I cut it. I sort of cut it in half and trimmed it and sanded
Sanded it down.
Sanded it down, and
Now, are
Little
these
pieces together.
folding?
No.
These ones aren't
I
folding
made,
tables?
2 folding tables, but then I thought, well, I'd try this, the standing alone. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so-
Yeah, these are
and
beautiful.
They're gonna be available if anybody wants to buy them.
Oh, so these are for sale?
Yes.
All right, wow.
it's,
And they,
So, and I'm gonna charge 100 because the wood itself is worth 100.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
$100 for the pair or each?
No, for each.
Each,
Yeah.
okay.
So-
And these are handmade?
And the money goes towards the wood shop.
Oh,
So,
okay, and
you
all
know,
the money
'cause
that
with
you make
all
will
the
go.
different tools that we buy here for you.
Yeah,
know,
you guys
it
have all
helps.
those toys in there.
Right. That's,
They're
well,
not tools, they're toys.
No, that shop has everything.
It
The only thing
does.
is, you gotta look for it. We don't have a good filing system. But we need a good secretary like you.
You need a
to keep us
secretary.
Or my wife Nancy, so.
Well, I would just file everything under thingamajigs and thingamabobs.
Definitely. That'd be as close as we could get. So, but.
Well,
anyways,
Rodney, these are gorgeous.
the wood has really come out beautiful.
It really
that I'm
did,
bragging, but-
yeah.
Yeah.
And these are teaks, so these would be perfect for out on the lanai, hold a
Lanais,
plant or,
whatever,
yeah.
in the apartment.
Well, they're gorgeous. Well,
Thank you.
so anyone watching, if you're interested, you can reach out to Rodney Doucette, and he has these tables. They're $100 each, or hey, today only, they're 2 for $200. All right,
Okay,
Rodney, great
that's a
job.
buy.
It is, yeah. Buy one, get one for $100.
Right.
All right, Rodney, have a great day.
Thank you. You have a great day too.
Well, hello, residents. I just wanted to share with you an issue that we're having, that we're seeing. We have shred boxes in the Gables buildings. This one happens to be in Gables West on the first floor, just outside of the financial business office. And this is available for residents to use as well as the associates. However, residents are filling it to the point where it's no longer a secured shredding box. As you can see, I can go right in here and take all of this out. Now, if you happen to see a shred box filled to this capacity, please don't put any more in it. And also, things like this, like an advertisement or a catalog, that's not a shredding type of document typically. Maybe just the page on the back that has your name and address, you can take that off, but something like this really takes up a lot of space in a shredding thing and really should be placed in the recyclables. So please keep that in mind, that others use this, especially for businesses. And please do not overcrowd the shred boxes. Thank you.
Not last, but first. You, not her, but you. With your eyes, not your nose, but your eyes so, so blue. Dressed in gingham too. It was there I
Frankie and Johnny were lovers. Oh, Lordy, how they could love. And they vowed to be true to each other, just as true as the stars above. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Frankie, she was a good woman. Johnny, he was a good man. And every dollar that Frankie made went right into Johnny's hand. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Frankie and Johnny went walking. I'm in the wrong key. That's what's wrong. Wait a minute, that's it. Frankie and Johnny went walking. Johnny had on his new suit. Oh, Lordy me, come and see. Don't my good old Johnny look cute? He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Johnny went down to the corner to get her a bucket of beer. Oh, Mr. Bartender, has my lovin' Johnny been here? He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. I don't want to cause you no trouble. I don't want to cause you no lies. But I saw your Johnny, and he was playing around with Nellie Bly. If he was your man, then he's doing you wrong. Frankie went to the transom and looked to the floor below. There below was her Johnny, making love to Nellie Bly. Oh, he was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Johnny pulled back her kimono and pulled out a little 44. Oh, Rudy toot toot, she did shoot right through that wooden floor. He was her man, and he was doing her wrong. Oh, roll me over easy, roll me over slow, roll me over on my side, 'cause the bullet, it hurts me so. I was her man, but I was doing her wrong. The judge, he said to the jury, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. This woman shot her lover. It's murder in the 2nd degree. He was her man, but he was doing her wrong. Now this story has no moral. This story has no end. The story only says there's no good.
I'll bet I could fill that in.
This story has no moral. This story has no end. Oh, this story only goes to show you there's no damn good in men. She did him wrong. She did him wrong. He was her man, but he was always doing her wrong. Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Around the Square. I hope you have an excellent week.
Hey, Brian.
All right.
I haven't told
Jokes.
you a joke in a long time.
It's been
It
a
feels
while.
like it forever. Yeah. I
feel
had
like
to
just haven't been
torture
around.
Vicky with my horrible jokes.
I know she was dreading that.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. So I know you're going to enjoy your vacation next week, and should I text you all of my bad jokes?
And that would be excellent.
Yeah,
I would
I'm sure
love
you'll
it.
appreciate
Yeah.
that,
One
yeah.
a day, please.
Well, these two jokes were left on my desk. I know one comes from a coworker. I don't know who, but
Okay.
it was. But anyway,
Okay.
all right. So these are anonymous jokes.
Okay. Yeah.
Brian, what happens when a frog's car breaks down?
He asks for a toad. I don't know.
It gets,
gets-
towed
oh.
away.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was on the
Get
right
it?
path. All
Rivet,
right.
rivet.
See, I'm getting better at trying to figure these out now. All right.
You're on the
Still terrible
same
at it, but-
mind wavelength.
There you go. There you go.
That
so
should be
it
terrifying.
gets towed away. I
Towed
love it.
away.
All right. Good. Good.
And this one, Brian, why shouldn't you write with a broken pencil?
I have no idea.
It's pointless.
Oh, this is a good. Yeah, sure. I get that one too. Yeah. I feel like sometimes I'm pointless.
No, the towed away is pointless.
Oh,
They
well,
should
it's
just
true,
leave the
yeah.
the frog's car alone.
This is true. This is true. I wonder how big a frog's car is. How big of a tow truck do you need for that?
I don't know.
I
I
don't
would
know.
think it's got to be bigger than a toadstool.
Maybe. It could be. I would think. So, all right. Too much pointless talk here. All right. Listen.
All right, I'm
y'all
gonna
have a
hop
great
out of
week.
here.
All right. Have a wonderful week, everybody.